Hey guys, this is Jamie. So today I want to talk about something that I don't think I'd have to talk about, but obviously, many people who are my age, many people sort of grew up with One Direction, regardless whether you were a fan or not. They still had a very big grasp when we were growing up, and I remember I was in the UK at the height of them, so I even remember like One Direction stores, like getting my ears pierced at Claire's, like while One Direction merchandise would be everywhere, stuff like that. I remember obviously the big impact when Zayn left, and in general, for instance, I enjoy Harry Styles' solo career besides like the last album, but in general, I mean, they were a massive group, and obviously, Liam Payne's suicide is something that has affected me, I guess, more than any other passing was because, again, like, I used to enjoy certain albums, I used to enjoy certain songs. I think my partner dressed up as Harry Styles for one Halloween. So it was very, and I've written like fanfics back in the day. So I wasn't like a very dedicated hardcore fan, but I still had an affinity. So it is very bizarre to talk about this in a sense that I didn't even believe that it was real. Like, obviously, when I saw it in a Discord group chat. So, yeah, um, obviously, my condolences go to his family, the son he left, and in general, I hope that regardless, he finds peace wherever he is, and yeah. But the thing I want to talk about is the fact that I do feel like the conversation is starting to take place, but it's not exactly. Men's mental health is a discussion that is not taking place enough. And specifically, um, even his suicide is, how to put this, really downplayed. And I feel like there is even more discussion about the ex that wrote the fanfic book about the relationship more than the fact that we need to address that men struggle with suicide. A lot of men in different age brackets are more likely to commit suicide than women or any other gender. And I do feel like if it was, for instance, someone else and it wasn't like a boy band member, people wouldn't be sort of nitpicking the suicide as much. Well, I do have to say that obviously there's been a massive outpour of love towards him, and I want to say that I never really liked him personally. I understand, like, not to speak ill of the dead, he didn't strike me as the most sort of nice member of them, and me and my partner specifically spoke that we were seeing in the past few days. There were videos with fans coming out about their experiences with him, and we were like, yeah, this is not gonna end well. Up to the point that I was like, well, we're gonna probably, unfortunately, find him probably overdosed at this point. So there was a spiral. I feel like because there's zero awareness of men's mental health and mental health in general, people don't take these things seriously. So I do feel like the people around him should have not let him down as much. I'm not blaming his family, but I'm saying like friends. Um, and I specifically want to touch on Maya Henry, who was his ex, who did fan fiction about their relationship. From what I understand, she is pretty much a nepo baby, and besides a few exceptions, I have zero tolerance for nepo babies, really. So I do have to say that already being a nepo baby, your view of the world is skewed because you're an asshole. Actually, I'm sorry. And what I do understand that she was in a very difficult relationship with Liam, and he was obviously doing things by his choice due to drugs and etc. But I do not feel like it gives the reason to sort of charge people a fanfic through these loopholes for her to get money off her experience. I feel like if she was actually serious and had a fucking soul, I'm sorry, she would have made an interview, um, spoken about it, made a public statements. Making a book where you nitpick everything, talk about like how many times you had sex or whatever, um, or that you gave him a Rolex and you were like, whatever. I do have to say that obviously it's very important to shed light on domestic abuse issues, and I do want to say that even the frame, the sort of way people are portraying it in the media, it's not that women should speak up only. Men, people of all genders, all sexualities should be speaking up on domestic abuse. But I don't see someone going out of the way to charge people for their memoirs, or like if it was a memoir, it's a way that people do it. Groupies have done it plenty of times. It's what it is. It's an acceptable form by our society. But I do feel like doing a written work about it while sort of shielding, oh, it's not really him, but it is him, just brought a disgusting taste in my mouth. So I'm not saying to send her hate or anything. Jesus Christ. But I do feel like it has to be said that being a nepo baby, you have a very skewed view of reality because you're already born with like a golden spoon in your mouth. So she plays the dynamic in the book of he has so much things and he was an enabler, but she also has a lot of privileges as well. And I do have to say that it is horrible that she had to abort because he was against it. And I'm not a woman, and I'm not someone who intends to give birth. I'm fertile for the also as well. So it's something that I cannot sympathize from the fact that I'm not a woman. I'm not someone who will give birth. A baby is not in my body, and obviously abortions are difficult for people who care about birth babies, blood related babies. I do have a massive ideological issue with that thing, but that is my own personal stance. So again, there are certain things that I don't understand. So I do feel, but it is a loss to have side effects, to go for something you don't want to go through, and I do feel like the axe incidents where he was breaking everything was absolutely traumatic. She got injured and everything, and that is something that needs to be said. But at the same time, the way she went about it is the wrong one. Like again, I really feel like she could have done a very honest interview with someone or a statement, or even, I guess, a memoir. I'm not exactly fond of memoirs, but I feel like it would be more acceptable rather than doing this. So yeah, so I do have an issue with that, and I do have an issue in general with sort of this whole idea that it's only women that should speak out more. It should also be men, and men should also, or people of other genders, should also focus. Like, I do feel like, for instance, Liam's drug addiction was not taken seriously. I do feel like he should have been placed in rehab plenty of times. He should have seen more adequate health care and more psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, rehab, people who deal with substance abuse, um, different groups. There's a lot of resources, but no one was thinking of that. And that is something that needs to be addressed, because people go into fame and they go through the substance, or in general, in society, we don't deal well with people who have substance abuse. And I personally didn't work that much with substance abuse, but um, like, I've had colleagues, I've seen the effects of it, and it is something that really wrecks lives, and I don't understand how society sort of doesn't take it seriously. And obviously, there's people very often turn to drugs instead of going for psychiatric medicine for depression, etc. Like, for instance, I know Liam was on clonazepam, and that was advertised everywhere. And so clearly, if it wasn't helping, he should have been on another drug, which should be mentioned and should have been monitored by other people. So obviously in the industry, there's a lot of, let's give someone drugs if they want to, let's keep them hooked, etc. While it should have been more, let's get him back into the psychiatrist, let's check what alternative do we have from clonazepam. And for someone with so many mental health issues, suicidal inclinations, I don't even understand how he was on one drug, actually. And this is from someone who also has heavy mental health issues. And being a psychologist, I have awareness of medicine as well. So it is a very tragic story. I feel like my Henry benefited from it. I am very sort of on the iffy side on should she have shared it. People told her not to share it. I do feel like in the last days she was pushing it too much, but I do have to say that, for instance, there was a fan who made a TikTok talking that Liam would reach out to her, and I think a few other fans as well, and I've seen them. Were talking about, hey, he reached out to me, or like he sent me dick pics, or he'd ask me to send some nudes, and that is the way you call out someone. You do a video, you do an interview, you speak about your experience, you share it through other ways. You don't do it as a cash grab. Yeah, so I feel like if she's gonna accuse him of, you know, not thinking straight or whatever, neither was my Henry girl, you know? So I do have an issue with that. And I'm sorry if I'm coming across as too harsh, but I do feel like we should hold sympathy for her, but at the same time, the way she acted wasn't excusable. But at the same time, having done something shady to you and you doing something shady back just shows that the relationship was abusive from both ends, from different ways. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. And obviously Liam was a very flawed person, and was obviously addicted to drugs. Actually, don't remember if it was alcohol, but you know. So that was pretty much what I wanted to say. I do want to say that it's also been hard on anyone who's suicidal. Obviously, I do appreciate that the BBC or other articles mentioned, like, obviously, if you're in a bad situation, please reach out as well. So I do appreciate that small gesture. So if you yourself are in a situation where you feel suicidal, feel impacted by this tragedy, reach out to someone, take care of yourself. And yeah, I'm sorry that I haven't been posting. I've been trying to sort of stay myself afloat, and this news also struck me. Obviously, I mean, there's nothing else to say. Please take care of yourself, reach out to other people, take care of one another. If you have any substance abuse issues, please think about them. I also wanted to say that, again, as a psychologist and someone who has mental health issues, do not treat your anxiety with drugs. I mean, don't choose weed over, I don't know, Zoloft or something. Don't choose cocaine over clonazepam. We're mixing it apparently, but what I'm trying to say is, please take the time to try and find the right medication for you. Try to find the right therapist for you. Drugs can only, in not, how to put this, I am not against people using drugs, even though it's not my personal choice, because I don't do drugs. I do feel like people need to accept medication into their lives if they need it. And there's nothing wrong in asking for medication for help. So please reach out, please think about it. If you're going for an anxiety period, if you've been depressed for a while, if you have been feeling suicidal, please reach out to someone, and to professionals specifically. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say, and please take care. If you like this video, I would appreciate it being shared, as I do feel like we need to discuss mental health more. Thank you very much.